Hey everyone, it's Susan Pierce Thompson and welcome to the weekly vlog. So this week I wanted to share a tool with you because I've been using it a bunch lately and to really good effect. And the tool is called a StickK Contract, otherwise known as a commitment contract. And if you've been around for a long time and maybe you're a bright lifer, then you've probably heard of StickK Contracts or commitment contracts because I was talking about them a bunch about 3 years ago. And in fact, I shot a vlog on them 3 years ago. But it dawned on me recently as I was using them a bunch that there's a whole new generation of people engaged in our community now who might not be aware of this tool. And I think the ways I've been using them are really illustrative of the ways that a commitment contract can really help to provide just that extra little bit of support to guide our habits and our behavior. So let me back up and just share a vignette that I first heard, I think, from Tal Ben-Shahar, who teaches positive psychology around the world. I don't know where he first heard it. But anyway, the vignette goes like this. You're walking in a forest. And you've been walking for days, you've got all your provisions in your backpack on your back, and you come up against a big, massive wall in the path, in the forest. And try as you might, you can't get over it. Well, the vignette goes that one way to be sure that you'll get over the wall is to throw your knapsack over the wall, like your backpack and all your provisions, throw it over the wall. Then you'll figure out how to get over the wall. So this idea of throwing your knapsack over the wall is the idea of commitment, of going all in, of making sure that there are stakes, right? Because it's nice to sort of want to change your behavior or to think it'd be a good idea to do something differently. And it's another thing entirely to really have skin in the game and to be committed. But the circumstances of this vignette don't appear in our daily lives, really, right? Like, what does it actually mean when we're on our bright line eating journey and we notice something that we realize we should tweak about how we're showing up for our bright line eating journey? What does it mean in actual practical terms to throw your knapsack over the wall? Well, enter the StickK contract. Now, stick is spelled S-T-I-C-K-K. So it's kind of like a carrot and a stick, but with an extra K at the end of the stick. And stick was invented several years ago by a couple of professors at Yale University who basically needed it for their own purposes. And it's created out of open source code. It's free for all to use. There's a great app now that you can download at StickK. It's like orange with a little swirl. And if you want, you can also just use the website, which is stick.com. And what you do is you go there and for free, you can create a commitment contract. And you also get to set the stakes of the contract. So if you want, you can designate that if you fail, a sum of money that you get to decide on will get sent somewhere. You get to decide where. So you can send it to a friend. You can send it to a foe. You can send it to a charity. You can send it to an anti-charity. Or you can make the contract and decline to have any stakes involved. Now, I always put stakes in the game. Lately, it's just been $50. I just put $50 on the line. And personally, I choose to send it to an anti-charity. Now, I don't have to send it if I follow through on my commitment. So that's the brilliant thing. And there's a drop-down menu. You get to choose any number of charities that you would love or hate. If you hate it, it's an anti-charity. And the idea is that, with an anti-charity, you'll be thinking, well, like, I'm not going to mess up because I'm not sending them my money. Like, no way. Which is kind of, I don't know, it's kind of fun, kind of silly. But it works for me. Like, I don't send them my money. Like, no. So, or you can decline to have money involved. You can choose a referee, who just, you report to, and then they have to confirm that you kept your commitment, or you can not do that portion of it. I tend to skip the referee part. I'm one of those people that, I'll be honest and I'll follow through on my own. So I don't feel the need for a referee. You can also add supporters, which is really cool. So, like if you're really doing bright line eating and you've got buddies, you've got a mastermind group, you've got, your boo crew, your people, right, who are supporting you, you can add them in. They can witness your commitment contract as it's unfolding. They can cheer you on. They can write on your little wall like, yay, go, you're doing great halfway through or whatever. You get to define the length of the contract. So it can be a one-time deal where you report at the end, or it could be like a daily or a weekly commitment where you're reporting all through. One little word to the wise, I once did a StickK contract where I had to report weekly for months, and I don't recommend that. What can happen is, we're people in flux, we change. And what happened for me was a month or so after I made that commitment, I no longer felt like I wanted to follow through with that. It just didn't feel relevant or alive for me, and I wasn't doing it anymore, and I didn't want to give my money to anybody about it. I had literally decided that it was no longer in my best interest to stick with that thing. So how I've been using StickK Contracts lately is for way shorter term things. And I think I'll just describe a few of them to you, and then you can use the tool or not as you see fit. So here's 3 ways that I have used StickK Contracts, like literally in the last week or two, to really good effect. So first of all, over winter break, I was noticing that I was eating out a lot and I wasn't writing down my food. I was still bright. The restaurant meals were, at mealtime and no sugar, no flour, totally fine meals. And I was just getting lazy. I really noticed I got to cut out so much eating out. Like it's just not in my best interests. And I also had the sense that, left to my own devices, being out and about, I would keep eating out. And so I made a StickK contract, and it was only for 2 days. It was like Friday and Saturday. I will write down my food the night before, and the next day eat only and exactly that 3 meals of food from home. And I made that commitment, and it was enough to just snap me back into my rhythms of preparing, writing down my food, weighing and measuring my food from home. It was just what I needed to get back in that rhythm. Another thing that happened recently was that there was a situation where I wanted to have patience, but I didn't think I would have patience. I thought that I would act impulsively. And so I made a commitment contract to instigate no action for 1 week. And what happened was the week expired and it still felt premature. So I made another contract for another 3 days. And then it was time. I'm just not, I'm not a patient girl often, but the commitment contract helped me to be patient. And what's really interesting? As soon as I made the commitment contract to not take any action for a week, it left my mind. I felt completely free. And as the week ended, the day, because I said expires Sunday at 7 p.m. Sunday at 4 p.m., it started to hammer on my mind again. And I was like, look at that. So I made another commitment contract for 3 more days and I got peace. So that was interesting. Helped me have patience. And then finally, and this contract is still in effect right now, coming out of winter break week, I wasn't getting up early to meditate. My alarm would go off. I'd go to bed at night with the intention to get up early and meditate. The alarm would go off and I'd hit snooze. And I'd hit snooze again. And I'd hit snooze again. And because it was winter break, I could meditate later in the day. I didn't need to get up early. And so, I would meditate later in the day or I wouldn't. Once the day gets going for me, it's about 50-50 whether I circle back to it. And once the kids were back in school, and my workload was sort of back on my plate, I knew that if I didn't meditate in the morning, I wasn't going to. So I set a StickK contract that said, I will get out of bed immediately when the alarm goes off and I will be meditating within 15 minutes all week this week, Monday through Thursday. That's this current week. Monday, Tuesday, perfect. Alarm went off, up I was on the meditation bench. It was awesome. So I've been using StickK Contracts just in these little ways to hone my behavior. And I thought I would just offer it as a tool to you in case you find it helpful. Yeah. And if not, no harm, no foul. That's the weekly vlog. I'll see you next week.